Hi friends, it's Linda and I am here with my very first ever video that is not a journal flip through. And what I am doing is participating in Defember, which is a prompt play that's hosted by 49 Dragonflies, Barbara and Luise on their YouTube channels. And every day there is a prompt. Actually, there are 2 prompts. And from those prompts, you create ephemera. And I actually added another challenge just for myself. And as you can see, I've got a little bit of a theme going here. If you can tell, it's all black and white. And the reason being is that I am going to use the ephemera that I create in this prompt to make an all black and white journal. Can you see over here? I am going to alter this book that is the Geometry of Pasta, and it is a book from the Dollar Tree that is all black and white. And so much fun this book is. I apologize. You know how terrible my filming is. I have such limited equipment right now. But, so everything that I create in this challenge is going to go into this journal. So I have finished the first 7 challenges, so I wanted to show you what I created from the prompt list. The first day was ribbon and a playing card. So what I made was this little playing card. Let's see if I can get it up so that you can see it. And it has a ribbon. It has a stamped image. This I rubber stamped on white tissue paper. First I covered the card with white tissue paper, and then I stamped on tissue paper and added that as a layer and distressed the edges in black soot and added a few little embellishments and a ribbon. So simple. The back I did nothing to because it's kind of fun. I live in St. Louis, and this, I don't know, I hope there's not a glare, is a vintage St. Louis playing card. So I just kind of left it as is because I thought that would be a fun element to be in the journal and a little bit of my hometown. So that was what I created. I only made one starting out. And then day 2, the prompt was stars and a paint sample. And again, I just made one, and I utilized a paint sample that was pure white, was the name of the paint sample. And I added some of Barbara's from 49 Dragonflies. She gave us a freebie of stars. I wasn't sure what kind of stars I was going to add until I saw her video and found those stars that she showed that were drawn, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could draw those. I don't know if I could draw those. Those look a little bit complicated. And then I leapt for joy when she said it was a freebie. So I printed those right out and used them here. And I, again, rubber stamped on some tissue paper and did a little bit of splotching with some silver and a little bit of outlining with some silver. And that is it. I have not covered the back yet. It'll probably depend on what I use this for as to whether I cover the back with a journaling, some journaling lines or paper or whatever. But anyway, so it's kind of like a birdhouse. So that's day 2. Day 3 was a woodland animal and a seed packet. I had some vintage seed packets, but they were all very yellow and vintage and manila, and for this black and white challenge, it's so different. I love color, so this black and white challenge is really a stretch for me, but I decided to follow Barbara's tutorial for hand making a seed packet out of book page, and I sewed around it, and then I wasn't sure what kind of image I wanted to use on the front for a woodland animal. I thought, I don't have any black and white woodland animals. I looked through my little stash of images and such, and then I happened to watch Luise's video, and up popped the cutest little raccoon you've ever seen in your life. And so I just went right online and purchased that digital from her shop and added him to the front of this seed packet, and he's so cute. I added just a little bit of glitter. I don't know if you can see that. And then I made some splatters with some white acrylic paint. This is a bit of, this paper here is just a bit of tissue paper, and I did some background rubber stamping. This little Earth Angels is a little rubber stamp that I have, and then I sewed around it. So it's very simple, and I only made one, but I think it turned out kind of sweet. Okay, and then on day 4, it called for gold or silver and tickets. And I have tickets I could have used, but nothing was black and white, which is going to be the challenge for this whole month, I'm sure. So I used Barbara's idea, and I created my own stamps, and I did the little perforations, and I just pulled out, again, this is one of the sheets I did. I pulled out my rubber stamps, little birdie, a little bit of music, a sing your song, sentiment rubber stamp, and I made some little silver polka dots. Can you see the little silver polka dots in the background? And that's the one strip that I made. I made this little strip, which is similar in that it has the polka dots. This one I put some, I stamped some numbers across the top. Put the phrase dilly dally and some coffee, a coffee cup. I am a huge coffee drinker, so I always love to use coffee images when I can. And then this one was another one. I did find this as a free image online, and it was kind of boring, and it still kind of is, but it'll be fun for something. And I just outlined it in silver, did a little background stamping, and then I put life, luck, and love and rubber stamps across the top and made that set as well. So I know these will come in handy in my journal. And then number 5 was coffee/button card. So this was interesting. So I have 2 Etsy shops. One of my Etsy shops is the one in which I sell my journals, and that's Vintage Joys and Jewels. Well, the other Etsy shop that I have is called JellyJarButtons, and it is almost all vintage buttons. And I have yet to even fill the shop with all of the vintage buttons that are in my inventory, and I really need to get back to that at some point. But anyway, so buttons are a real, especially vintage buttons, are something I just love. And I happen to have an embossing folder set that was vintage buttons. And so I used that embossing folder just to make a couple of journal cards. And on this one, I sewed some vintage buttons onto a piece of gingham with some white thread. I just kind of highlighted, I used my black soot Distress Oxide ink and just kind of highlighted it to bring out the colors and to add a bit of the black. And then I just covered the back with some writing paper, so black and white writing paper. So that's one that I made. And then this is the other embossing folder in the set, and I thought I need to add an element of coffee to this. So what I actually put is I have, I love coffee, and I have an actual paint sample, and the name of the paint sample is coffee. It's actually more black than it is brown, so I guess it should be called black coffee. And then I just decorated the rest of the page with some actual vintage buttons that I sewed onto the card. And I used Barbara's little tutorial, and I made one vintage button with using a coffee cup. So there's just a little bit more of a coffee element there. And then the silver element, I used some silver thread, and I sewed that onto these embossed buttons. And then I added some little silver sequins, and inside of the sequins I sewed a French knot to adhere them to the page. So that is my little journal card. On the back I put the lined paper, so it could be used as a journal card, although it's a little bit thick and bumpy, but I think it's doable. So those are my two pieces for day 5. Day 6 was a napkin image and a tag. So what I made there is a large tag. Let's see, maybe I'll move. Uh-oh, we're gonna have a crash. Not too bad. Okay, I'll just set that down here. So I made kind of a, I don't know if you can see that well. I'll hold it back up. I made kind of a double tag. So I used a napkin and covered a large tag. I put this adorable little rubber stamped image. She's urgently wanting to get a message. And I used a little bit of really sweet, kind of a Harris tweed fabric for the tab. And then the back is just kind of plain there. I added some black, shook some black paint on there. You can see I made kind of a mess with that. I was kind of disappointed with that, but that's okay. And then I made this cute little tag to go inside of it. And for it, I used another one of Barbara's stars that she shared with us. This is a rubber stamped image from Red Lead Paperworks, which I just love. And another little piece of the napkin, and it says "Create Joy." I sewed around this, and I left the little tails. And then this I zigzagged around. So it's kind of a tag and a tag. And I put her in so that she sticks out just a little bit. And then this is my tag and napkin. And then finally, for day 7, it was a safety pin and a postage stamp. So what I created is this little fabric dangle, little fabric, I don't know, it could be an element for the cover, it may be part of a fabric flip. I didn't finish it off in any particular way because I wasn't sure, it might just be added to a page, but I added this little Tim Holtz trinket pin with a little assortment of charms, and then a Snowy Owl USA postage stamp, and this is another postage stamp from, I don't know from where, and one of Barbara's words from her digital, little bit of book page and a tiny bit of doily. And again, this fabric that I just could wrap up in. I just love that tweed, black and white tweed fabric. So that's my little fabric, my little pin and safety pin postage stamp piece. So those are my pieces so far for the first 7 days of December. And I am going to start working on the next 7 days, and then I hopefully will come back and show you what I created. I'll show you just a few little things that I've already have pulled from my black and white journal. I'll show you this, my box. One of the things I am really loving about this challenge is that I'm really trying to use things that I have to make things that I need. So I've used already all of these stamps from my collection for these pieces of ephemera. So that to me is really exciting. A lot of my stamps, a lot of my word stamps and this stamp and actually this stamp are from Red Lead Paperworks. And if you've never shopped through their online store, you really should, because they have a selection of stamps that are the best. And they also have tons of digital collage sheet images also that are great, and lots of art supplies and things. So that's Red Lead Paperworks. And also I have found both Luise and Barbara's shops to be an excellent source of help in this black and white journal as well. So I'm using a little bin here to collect my daily ephemera. And then when I started the journal, and as I look at the prompts, I've just been kind of, you know, putting things in here that I find in my stash that I think, oh, I may use that. That might come in handy one day. I stamped a bunch of images in black and white with some of my rubber stamps, some of them on tissue, some of them on paper. Found some yearbook pages. Have a few little bits and bobs. This is kind of my smallest basket for black and white. Some of these little medallions. Look at this crazy girl. Isn't she adorable? We'll see if she fits in anywhere. So anyway, so this is where I'm collecting my smalls for my black and white journal making and Decemberembers. And then I have, of course, a larger basket, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to probably right in your face, but where I'm collecting some of my larger things like my my fabrics and rub-ons and papers and stencils and book pages and more fabrics and my napkins and things like that. Things that I had in my stash that I pulled out and thought, oh, perfect time to use them. This black and white journal. So I have that. And then last but not least, since it is also Christmas time, I wanted to share some black and white candy canes with you. So everybody, I want everybody to take a candy cane and pretend you're eating it. Doesn't it look like they would be like black jelly bean or black licorice flavor? You know what flavor these are? Oreo cookie. Can you just imagine an Oreo, a candy cane that tastes like an Oreo cookie? I'm not sure that I can, but they are adorable as inspiration, a bit of Christmas inspiration in my little black and white IKEA tin with the, oh, you can't see it, with the snowflakes on it. So I find that a little bit of decoration like these stars and these candy canes are keeping me in the black and white mood. And I wore my black and white shirt too to kind of keep with the fun little theme I have going here. Okay, so I'm going to end this video, which I hope wasn't too painful. And I will see you, I believe, in 7 more days. I'm planning to do another video and show you the next bits of ephemera that I made. I am having so much fun and learning so much, as I always do, from Barbara and from Luise. I love how different their styles are and how much you can learn from both of them, and they are both so fun and so entertaining, and I always find myself laughing too. So you can't beat that. So they're my crafting buddies for this project. And anyway, thank you for taking a look And I will see you in about 7 days with more black and white Defember Ember. Bye-bye now.